Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes. Kuntres Heichaltzu. Okay, after Parak Yud Tes. I have about 13 prakim to go. Okay, so we were saying yesterday, it's time to talk about the difference between Havaya, Shem Havaya, Shem Elikim. So we're saying that, and really focused on Yud Ches about Shem Elikim. Shem Elikim is really the source for the world and all, everything in the world and everything that manifests in the world and all the creations and all the levels of creation. And that's Shem Havaya. That's Shem Elikim. Shem Havaya transcends all this. It's not even, so to speak, a source for the world. It's way above that. Yeah, page 147, Parak Yud Tes. The previous chapter explained that existence is characterized by both diversity and unity. The diversity has its source in the name Elikim, which is the root of the letters of the divine speech that bring about differentiation within the created beings. By contrast, God's name Havaya reflects transcendent oneness, a level of existence where differentiation is not apparent. So in Havaya, there's no distinction. It's not apparent anything distinct. Whereas in Elikim, it's very distinct. However, move on. Still, this is not very clear. The Hala Yaduo is not known. The source of all creation really comes from Shem Havaya. Now, if we're saying Shem Havaya is a level of godliness as its all oneness and unity, so how can, in a place of oneness and unity, bring about division? Not division, but Heichaltzu, separateness. So he says, even though in truth it is coming from Shem Elikim, the separateness, the existence, actual existence comes into being the Shem Elikim, but the true existence, the true source of it is from Shem Havaya. Havaya is the language of Mahava, means create, bring them to being. But this that we're saying it's coming to Shem Elikim. So how does it work? Is it Shem Havaya, Shem Elikim? So it's the light of Havaya. It's the godly energy from Shem Havaya coming into expressed to Shem Elikim. Because the Havaya Elikim kul echad. And this is a very famous teaching in Chassidus, that Havaya Elikim kul echad. They're really one thing. Shai Yichud and Tanya talks about this. There's a famous Maimer talks about this. On one hand, you have Havaya, which is all about oneness, and Elikim is all about distinction. But we're saying that essentially it's all oneness. They're all really together. It's part and parcel of the same thing. Two sides of the same coin. Yeah. If Havaya Elikim kul echad, if they're all really one, everything that is created, meaning all the creation, everything that we see, within us is also, till now we've been saying within us is in the Shem Elikim. There's the level of godliness as it creates this defined, distinct entities. As we said before in chapter Yud Ches, Shem Havaya is above all this. It's unity. Shem Elikim makes this division. So saying, but in the Shem Elikim, in this world, there's also the Shem Havaya. Because the Im Leikein Ma'ayin is Avu. Where do we come from if not coming from Shem Havaya? The Hashem Havaya who Mekiram Hamiti. Because the true source is Hashem Havaya. Meaning, so to speak, in the process, everything is all godly. Essentially, it's all godliness. But it's the level of manifestation of godliness and how much godliness is apparent. So in Shem Elikim, godliness is much less apparent. In Shem Havaya, godliness is much more apparent, to the extent that it's all godly. And we're going to show how even Shem Havaya has distinctions. But in comparison to Shem Elikim at the moment, Shem Havaya and Shem Elikim, they're two separate styles. Shem Elikim creates in a very, very defined manner that we see our world and all these things, but we're saying in the process, it comes to Shem Elikim, Shem Havaya. Shem Havaya is what's giving it. And that's the level of godliness that it's much higher than this, much more united. And this, you could say, it's a very important point, because ultimately that means that even in the world that we have distinction, a division, we all really come from this level of Shem Havaya. We're all really united. Because and that's what he's saying, because the ability of Hashem Elikim to create distinct creations and creatures, it's only through coming from Shem Havaya, from a level which is all about unity. And even though it says you should praise the name of Havaya because he commanded and created, which is saying that Havaya is also creation. Which is saying that even Shem Havaya, not just Shem Havaya as it expresses itself in Shem Elikim, not how the godly energy of Shem Havaya, which is all about unity, it gives that energy to Shem Elikim, which will divide it. But even in Shem Havaya itself, it has this level of division. But he's saying this is a much more spiritual level, and it's coming by itself. It's like an automatic. It's not that it's creating division; it automatically creates. It's like an offshoot of it. Meaning, his havus v'chinas almin stimin delay scallion. This is bringing about a creation from the level of the concealed world that's not revealed. There's worlds that are revealed, like we live in a revealed world, and there's worlds that are concealed. And he's saying it comes by itself, but it's coming from this very high level. Shal zen nemar v'nivro, and they were created. Meaning when it says and they were created, it sounds like it just happened. It wasn't, and they did something specific, and they were created. He said, and they were created. It just happened. It's like an automatic thing. Because the main point of Shem Havaya is not that it creates separateness and division. It's all about unity. And this that it creates it's an automatic thing. And this we say that Bereshis Bara Elikim, that really Elikim is what created. This is the idea of the creation, that it's feeling where it's coming from, which is through Shem Elikim. Hainu Nivraim Almin Diskalon. This is the revealed worlds. So the creation that comes about through Shem Havaya is the creation of concealed worlds that don't have that revelation of its source. Whereas in our world, it's much more revealed. It's Almin Diskalon. It's a revealed world. Explain it also at length. The creations coming from the world of Iskasha, the hidden worlds. So this creation is coming about to Shem Havaya in the hidden worlds. It has distinctions. Like it's like the saying, everything that's in the dry land is in the water. Meaning the difference between the dry land and the water is that in the dry land we see everything. We see every distinction, every distinct entity. In the water, what do you see? You just see water. So there's a whole world under there. And it goes for miles. They say it's even deeper than Mount Everest, downwards. And that's the world, and that's in the water. But what do we see in the water? We see nothing. And so too, in the level of Havaya's creation of Alma Diskasia, the concealed worlds, it's concealed from us, but it's concealed from the fact that it doesn't see itself as something separate from God. Just like in the water, the whole world, all the animals and all the fish, they understand that the life force is the water, and that's what keeps them alive. So too this level that's been created through the energy of Havaya is also feels that way. But there's still a lot of detail, just like under the water. And they're created from Shem Havaya. So therefore we're saying Shem Havaya also creates, just like Shem Elikim. And he's saying even more. If you think about Shem Havaya, what is it? It has 4 letters. And it's known. These 4 letters represent 4 levels, which are very distinct levels. Hadal says Havaye, Kailim, Hadal Olamis. And in general, it consists, it's also representative of the four worlds. Atzilus, Bria, Tzir, and Asiyah. So Yud is Atzilus, Shem Havaye is Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and then another Hey. So the Yud is Atzilus, the Hey is Bria, the Vav is Yitzira, and the last Hey is Asiyah. So we see that's very distinct. There's four distinct worlds. The Derech Prat, Yesh Shem Havaya B'chol Eilam Me'adal Eilam Mois Atzilus Bria Tzir. And even in each world, there is Shem Havaya, which shows Shem Havaya is being invested in each world differently, which is showing that it's very much has this relationship with division. And also within that world, there's Esespheres, and Shem Havaya is within that as well. You have the Yud of the Shem Havaya is Chachma, the Hey is Bina, the Vav is Zah, the six emotions, and the Hey is Malchus. And it's very interesting. He has a little graph a little later that really gives it over very nicely. But he's saying Shem Havaya represents the four worlds, represents the 10 spheres in each world. The Yud is the Chachma, the Hey is the Bina, and this is a whole discussion we could have in itself. The Vav is the emotions, the six emotions. Vav is six, and the last Hey is Malchus. So see again, it's very divided. But who Seder Havas V'Amshachas Ha'er, and this is also the order, the way the light Nimshach B'Chol Eilam V'Eilam Ayidei Dal Reis Elu. So through these four letters is representative of the way the light is drawn down. You have Shehem Tzimtzum. The Yud is very small, it's mitzamtzum, it contracts. Then you have the Hey, which is Ispashtus, and that it spreads itself out like an idea. You have the Chachman, the idea is the Yud. It's a little idea, like, oh, this is interesting, let me think about this. You understand it, you unpack it as much as you can, you make it wide like the Hey. Then the Vav is Amshacha, you draw it down, you bring it down so you can use it, you can live with it, or you can give it over to someone else. And the Hispashtus, as it spreads out with the last Hey, which is like the Malchus, which you expand it, goes to, and it goes intellect, to emotions, to action. I explained it length elsewhere. So we see that Shem Havaya, as much as we said before, that it's very much united, it's above the definitions of separateness that exist in our world, but it also has ideas of definition and separateness. So explain elsewhere how it has to come about, the light, meaning the Gali energy through these levels, which is happening through Shem Havaya. And this is the idea of the 10 spheres. Chachma is the idea of the contraction. And Bina is the understanding is wide, it's opening up, is really unpacking the idea. And as we'll explain further on, and through the four letters of Shem Havaya, they have a tzimtzum and then Ispashtu. So mishave kol elam v'anivrayim sheve'elam hahu ma'in, creating things from nothingness to something. It's creation, true creation. Shem mitam zeh nikram Shem Havaya, Shem zeh Havaya, lashon mahave. That's why it's called Havaya, because it's mahave, it means brings into existence, brings into being. Shehu maka mahave ma'in, which is the source of creating something from nothing. So v'im kein harei yesh b'Shem Havaya gam kein chilukim adjeges pratim. So therefore, in summary, Shem Havaya also has levels and definitions like Shem Elikim. So therefore we need to understand Mawa Hefresh ben Shem Havaya Shem Elikim. So what's the difference? Before we were saying Shem Elikim, yes, they were saying Shem Elikim, it creates all this world and all this division, and there's myriads of levels within each level, within the grass and within the rocks. There's simple rocks, and then there's fancy rocks, and people are different. It makes very much division. Shem Havaya is very non-divided. And now we're seeing in so many ways how Shem Havaya is very divisive. So what's the difference between them? So the answer is the Shem Elikim Ksiv Lashon Rabim. Shem Elikim, the mem, the shlas mem in the end, it shows on the language of plural. Shem Havaya hu echad, where Shem Havaya is the language of oneness. And he explains, Shem Havaya yesh madrigas chuluk in Israel. Even though, like I said before, Shem Havaya has all these levels. Achayinyan hu b'chlal Shem Havaya yesh boy prati madrigas. Ela shekol madrigas shebay heim b'chinas is achtus is kalus. The levels in Shem Havaya are all united. It's like a car. A car is a car, but within it, there's all these different parts. There's the wheel. There's the steering wheel. There's the engine. There's all the parts that make the car run. But all of those make up a car. They're all for the same purpose. All there to work together for the same goal. But his La'el, and we explained before, the Zera Mitzvah Iskalus. This is a true unity. We said in chapter 7. This is the true unity. When you take these different parts and they all come together to do the same job. Kasher Ribay Pratim and Misachdim Yachad, when all these different details come together, Behem Kedavar Echad Mamish, and they become like literally one thing. Like the example we used then, I think, like in the army, they have someone that's the cook, someone that's the engineer, someone that's the fighter, someone that's the fighter pilot, someone that's the intelligence. They only works when they all work together. And if the guy that's meant to be cooking doesn't cook, or the guy that's meant to buy the food doesn't buy the food, then the army doesn't function. Everyone has their job, and all of that coming together is good unity. Ha'achtus, the Shem Havaya, through the union of Shem Havaya, nas b'chinas is ha'achtus ve'iskalus ba'nivrayim. Oh, it's going later of time. Didn't realize. So through the level of unity and the coming together of the creation, that were created through Shem Havaya, even though there's all these different levels, they come one, they have united together. And this is what we're trying to achieve here. That even though we're different people and everyone has a different opinion, we have to come all together. Kitzer, Shem Havaya hu marker Heichaltzu. The Shem Havaya is the source for creation. Specifically the hidden worlds. And then there's different levels. But they're all different levels, but they're united together. You see in this graph on page 157 at the bottom, you have the Yud, the Hey, the Vav, and the Hey. The Yud in letters, in the spiritual world is Atzilus. Hey is Bria, Yitzir, Nasiya. Yeah, you see it, you look over there. To be continued tomorrow.